8:45, so I figured we should call. As is wont, we have citizen comments starting first. Well, I'm going to be a citizen myself pretty soon, so I'll have something to say, and that is congratulations to Debbie Braun. She will be sitting at this table next month. Please welcome her. She ran an excellent campaign. If she exercises the same camaraderie and level of organization. Would you care to review the bills for us, Brian?
Okay. Sorry. Okay, I'll go down through the bills, identify some of the unusuals. Drip Works is a little plastic irrigation system that we purchased and extended to the rest of the garden plots out here at 908. Shante Elliott is a refund. Essential Hardware is rodent bait. Like everywhere else in most of Evanston, we've got a rodent problem in some of the parks. Evanston Sign and Graphics, Farmers Market Signs. Jennifer Frankfurt, refund for class. Green Edens installed the drip line, so that's labor. GK Wholesale is bait for the rodent traps. Jewel Foods, fruit snacks, healthy snacks for spring camp. Carol Youngman, refund. Susan Law's refund. Neopost is our stamp machine, had to refill it. Ridgeville Band of Evanston's our annual donation so they can buy music. They also perform here for free. And there's the $95,000 Jerry just talked about. Rita Sudek is a refund for camp. Sunrise Tree, we did extensive pruning between South Boulevard and Seward in the tot lot. The copy room was flyers for Earth Day, which we're participating in. And Walmart is plastic eggs for the egg hunt.
I move to accept the corporate monthly bill summary of April 13, 2017 for the amount of $112,744.86.
Second.
All in favor?
I just have a question though. Why is it in the bills? I mean, it really isn't a bill.
Well, we could have done a separate motion, but it was just simple and cut a check and then go deposit the check.
Okay,
We could wire transfer the money, pay wire transfer fees. It isn't that critical to just cut a check and walk the check over and deposit it is a fine way to move the money.
But it won't show up in any account, basically. It won't show up as an expense.
Well, it'll show up as a debit to the corporate banking account. Yeah.
From one account to the other.
When you approve the monthly bills, everything here is going to show up as an expense in the banking account. Right. And then the detail page then shows how it gets split between the funds. So you kind of always want to, it gets a little confusing because we get a little sloppy with our language. We call it the corporate account and we've got the corporate fund. Those are really two completely different entities. The fund accounting that is really our general fund, all of our funds funnel the money through our corporate account, our petty cash account, or our payroll account. Those aren't fund-specific accounts, they're general accounts. The due from, due to accounting that you see in the ledger sheets and the balance sheet is how the money gets settled across the different funds. So we'd probably be better calling what we refer to as the corporate fund, call it the general fund like the annual report does, so that we mentally keep it separate from it's just our corporate checking account.
So this is in our corporate checking account?
This is our corporate checking account, regardless of
It isn't in
fund.
Move along to approval of petty cash expenditures.
We have two. Stacy Buchler was our egg hunt entertainment, and Vargas Auto Glass, we had to repair a back window on the F-250 that cracked.
Oh,
Move to accept the petty cash monthly bill summary of April 12, 2017 in the amount of $380.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We move along to monthly reports, starting with Nana.
So this month for our celebration board, we're celebrating Asian Pacific American Heritage. Our spotlight is on a woman named Gia Lee. She's a Chicago native that works with the nonprofit organization Asian Americans Advancing Justice. She actually went to Northwestern, and she's from the Chicagoland area, but she's really awesome. I've actually reached out to her. I kind of want to talk to her and pick her brain in the same way that we did with Reverend Neighbors to come up with some ideas of things that we can do in the future to celebrate this month. But she's a busy woman, so we haven't been able to like really connect back and forth. But anyway, it's on our website, so if you have a second, take a look at that. Staffing for summer camp, almost done with that, maybe done, very, very close. We didn't have very many positions this summer because almost 100% of our counselors from last summer are returning, which is great. It says a lot about our camp here. So that's that. That's just the information. We had a pop-up adventure playground on March 19th. Yulia, who hosts those, said she had about 40 kids that came out for it here at Ridgeville
Really?
Park. Yeah. So that was very successful. It was a beautiful day. Community-wide read book discussion. I held that here on March 20th. We had 4 people come that had read The Other West More, and all 4 people were actually people that lived within the district, so that was really great to see some familiar faces, and we had a lovely discussion. Again, we come next year. Spring break camp went really well, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about that, but we had Dee Witter ran the camp with Wesley Shavers and Brian Richards. We had our golden egg hunt. Brian again will tell you a little bit more about that in his report. We had well over 100, probably 150 people come. It was a beautiful day. Stacy was our entertainment. She was awesome. Brian was super funny. He was also awesome. Class that we're gonna kind of remount. It's called Align, Strength, and Stretch. It is a different instructor of our previous stretch and strength class. So since I started working here in the fall, I've had a lot of people ask me to get this class back up and running. Laura Downey had been our instructor for it previously, but she teaches a lot of classes, and her son, her family, she's got a lot of obligation there, so she's not able to do that any longer. So Kristen Ross, who actually lives in the Park District, is a physical therapist that was recommended to me. So she and Laura have been in contact, and they put together a syllabus for this new Align, Strength, and Stretch. We had one demo class. I think she had 8 students that came out for that. We're doing another one in May, and then we'll start this class June 5th. So very excited about that.
What's the price for the class?
For that one for adults, it's going to be $90. It comes out to be about $10 per class. So this will be a 9-week session. So it'll be about $90 for residents, and then $100 for non-residents. We have another resident of Ridgeville Park, Mishra Keller, who came to me about teaching a class called Pound. I'm gonna go check it out. She invited me to one of the classes that she teaches now, and I'm gonna go. But it's like a rhythmic exercise class with ripsticks. They're like drumsticks. It's really, really cool. So we're gonna demo it and see if there's any interest in that over the summer, and then hopefully if people are into it, we'll try to run it in the fall. So excited about that too. Soccer Festival, I've been working with Elliot. We've got some flyers that I've been putting up and he's been putting up. So spread the word about that. It'll be July 15th. Registration is up on our website for people to register, and there's a Facebook event page. Concerts on the Ridge is something that Brian and I have been working with the foundation to develop. It'll be similar to, the goal is that it will be similar to what Shakespeare on the Ridge is, but it will be a concert series that will overlap with the end of farmers markets on Wednesday evenings for like an hour, which will hopefully drive some more people into the farmers market and also give people another excuse to come hang out at the park and enjoy some music. So we are in the beginning stages of developing that. I will keep you posted as we figure out the details. Clean Up Evanston is an event that we're doing in partnership with the City of Evanston for Earth Day and Arbor Day. That's happening on April 22nd from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. There is a Facebook event also about that on our page that people can register for. They're signing up through a website called Volunteer Evanston, which I've created a page for Ridgeville Park District. I think we have like 2 people signed up right now. And we can take 10 for each park. So I'm gonna host Ridgeville, and Reuben is hosting Elk Park. So we have 2 different parks that will be sites, as they're calling them, but we'll just be cleaning up and making them pretty. And the city provides bags and things like that. So that's it. That's all the things.
Had you candidates for concerts on the Ridge?
Yeah, so we talked about, we want a nice diverse group of musicians and bands. So we have talked about some kind of like different kinds, like genres of music. So I'm researching bands, Jeff, who's on the foundation, is researching bands. So if you have any recommendations, please send them my way. I know that we have, I think there's an Irish folk band that's interested. I would love to find a regular that's interested. But if you have any suggestions.
Have you approached the Ridgeville band on it yet?
I scheduled a performance with them on a different day than what this is going to be. It's in July 9th. So it will be during the same month, but that gives us an opportunity to enjoy the Ridgeville band, but then also enjoy another band too. So it just really fills that month with cool things to do. But.
Cool.
What about that, that kid?
School of Rock?
School of Rock.
Yes, I'm reaching out to them to see if they would be interested. Yeah.
Thank you. This is a very helpful report.
Great.
And a question for you, and maybe Brian can help with this.
Sure.
For next meeting, would it be all right to get an alpha list of the employees? You know, the summer camp folks,
Sure.
but then all the employees, you know, the teachers and all, with a column about how much compensation they receive, and then their zip code of where they live. I think it's good for our constituents to know kind of generally where we're hiring people from and what they're doing. It's just a way for the community to know who's working for us. So, but maybe next month, if you could bring that.
Yeah, I can do
I
that.
don't.
Thank you.
I don't think we can publish the amount that they can make.
That's actually public information. Yep.
It is?
Yep. Yeah.
Very good. Jerry?
Mine's not nearly as fun and exciting as Natalie's. It's dry numbers. Got the usual packet of reports in front of you, starting with the appropriations ledger. Actually, if you look at the front and back, there's 2 different versions. One has the word modified in the upper right-hand corner. Both show that at this point of the year, we ought to be at about 71% utilization of our budget. If you look at the unmodified, that's our true picture. We're only using about 59% of our budget so far, and in the recreation fund, only half of the budget. So it looks like we're really running way under budget, which is a wonderful thing. The modified, what I do there is I back out the CDBG issue, since that isn't likely to happen as planned in this budget season. When I do that, it shows our budget utilization is up a bit higher, sitting at 65% in the recreation fund and 67% overall. And it's good that we're kind of tracking a little better than budget right now, because as we get into the summer camp season, we're going to see our expenses wrap up in our final month or so of the year. So we're looking really good is the bottom line on that report. Switching over to the trial balance and the statement of revenue and appropriations. The only thing I'll really highlight there is on the statement of revenue and appropriations. Our revenue over our appropriations, you'll remember for many months in a row now, we've been running more expenses than revenue, and the tables turned this month. We're now showing $222,000 of revenue over appropriations because we received most of the spring tax bill payments. So that has boosted our bank balances and put us in a nice cash flow position compared to where we've been. The last reports I've got for you, the balance sheet is the balance sheet, nothing to say there. I duplexed it, put the outstandings on the other side of it. And you can kind of just track our outstandings there. What's come off are all the items that were in the motion passed last month. We've added a bunch of new items this month. It's just a timing issue. Most of those will self-resolve with this bills and processing of the April statements. The stale items that are dated February or older are the ones of concern, and Brian and Anna and Christina will be working hard in the next, before the next board meeting to get those cleared up as much as we can before our fiscal year end closes out. Because the auditors don't like to see those there, is issue number one. And issue number two, some of the ones that are sitting on there for more than a year, we start to reach a point where we have to escheat that money to the state of Illinois, and I'd rather not have us get into that game. We've never had to do it, and there's all kinds of software we have to deal with, and all kinds of process and folderol we have to deal with. I'd just as soon avoid. So we'll be putting some heavy focus on the really stale items as well. That's all I got.
Comparatively to how this looked when you first helped us with the treasury and your accounting, do you feel like this is greatly improved now?
No, it's kind of tracking about, it's just an ongoing, yeah. It's about the same as it's always been.
Oh, all right.
There's just always something that just lingers that you try to, oh, maybe it'll go away, maybe it'll go away, and I just ignore it.
Maybe your reporting is better. That's it.
Until I complain so loudly that they finally have to clear it off.
Brian?
Yes, sir. Try not to repeat too much. We had our Golden Egg Hunt on Saturday, April 8th. We had musical entertainment, and Spring Bunny made an appearance. Approximately 150 people showed up. Kids had a blast. No complaints. On April 4th, as you know, we hosted an election for two precincts here. Ruben and Marcos did a nice job of opening the facility at 4:30 and closing at approximately 8:30 when votes were counted. We also hosted spring camp from March 27th through March 31st. V. Witter, Wesley Shavers, and Brian Richards worked the camp. We had 17 kids attend that camp, went very well. Spring cleanup is underway. All our parks, Ruben and Marcos have seeded several path areas in need. They have aerated every large space in our park district this week. So we are ahead of schedule on that. The 2017 Brumble Park Community Development Block Grant is still on hold. There is much uncertainty with the new federal administration. The hope is that potential cuts will only affect future budget years, not 2017. Sarah Flax will update all of the grant recipients, including us, as information becomes available. If all grants are approved for 2017, we're behind schedule. We will not be installing our equipment until the 2017-2018 budget year. So it'll be done, if everything goes well, it'll be done in the fall. And then therefore, we have to make note of that in the next budget, of which I'm going to give you a tentative budget in May. So the 79, or what do we have here? The Brummel Park line item is not, we're not going to spend a dime in this budget year. We're going to have to move it over.
And you can do that.
Yeah. I defer to my expert, but yes.
So
We're not going to have the expense, but neither are we going to have the income. Or said the other way, we don't get the income, we're not going to have the expense. So kind of it's neutral to this budget year.
I got one more item, and then we talked about Soccer Fest. You should know that our plan, I call them patches, but I guess the correct term is soccer pitch. Our plan for Soccer Fest on July 15th is to have one set up in Cayman, and that'll stay here like last year, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And then we want to put one in Leiter for 3 or 4 days because the tournament's expanding. If the tournament doesn't expand, the Leiter pitch won't go up, but it'll only be up for 3 or 4 days in Leiter, and then come down. That's the plan.
Great.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
Brian, do you notify the residents when that soccer pitch is
You
coming?
can't hear him.
He asked if you notify the residents when the soccer pitch is going up.
Yeah. We will. We haven't. Last year we had great response at Cayman. but we'll flyer the lighter neighborhood, tell them it's going up for 3 or 4 days. The one neighbor it impacted at Cayman last year is right on the alley, the duplex, and they loved it.
So do we have a Plan B for playground?
I'm sorry,
A Plan B for the playground?
Plan B?
We did put some funds aside
Right,
for it.
right, and we're not spending that until we're told no. So,
Okay.
at minimum, I'm gonna have it inspected before the May meeting, the playground. And, let's say we get bad news. And the inspection is bad news too. Grant, bad news, inspection, bad news. It's gotta come out. And then we got 20 grand to spend, approximately. Don't wanna spend it unless we have to.
Okay.
If I spend it, I'm not gonna, then the grant's gonna be less. So it's to our advantage to wait.
And Brian, for those who don't know, we're talking about the play equipment, right?
Right.
If it's too dangerous, you're saying your assessment, if it's too dangerous,
It's
we'll
gotta
take
come
it
out, right? But I'll have an expert.
And-
Last year we had it and they said it's fine.
Right, and this,
But you're getting close.
but this grant money, we thought we were gonna get, but it's stuck, is it in the state or the feds where it's stuck?
The feds haven't freed up the money.
Oh, so we can't touch that.
No ticky, no washy.
So that might be something where we might want to appropriate another round of funds for next year. I mean, could we move the 20 from this year to next year and then put in another 20, for instance?
That one gets a little trickier because that is handled in a way that we've made the ask for that money through tax revenue. So we'll effectively turn that money into fund balances and raise our fund balances. We'll have to review that pretty carefully to figure out now how do we handle that so that we don't ask for the tax money again, because that would be inappropriate.
Are you suggesting then,
And the answer may be by year end, one possible answer is that we move that money into the capital improvements fund
Okay.
to reserve the money for a future year. But we have to have a designated project in order to be able to do that.
I thought that came out of capital improvements anyway.
The way we passed the budget this past year, no, we left it in recreation.
Okay, gotcha.
It's a capital project, but not out of the capital fund. It's a capital project within the recreation fund.
Okay.
So, Brian, are you relatively hopeful, or not certain, but hopeful that we're gonna get what has been budgeted for us at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't make those decisions.
I know, but
The-
you're based upon your conversation with
It
Sarah.
would be very difficult for our president to touch last year's money.
Right.
That's the issue. And then you also have the sanctuary city stuff going on. But Sarah Flax says, be patient. It's very confusing. It's all up in the air. You have to just wait it out. So typically, in past years, right about now, we're putting it out to bid and we're going. That's not going to happen this year. It won't be put out to bid before June 30th.
Do you think in 60 days we'll know?
I think 60 days we'll have a great idea. Yeah.
So in the meantime, you'll get an assessment of the equipment to be sure it's gonna make it through another season?
That's what I'm going to insist for, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you'll note we have Brummel Park on the capital improvements committee list. And depending on the results coming out of Washington, engaging each other and engaging the public on next steps at Brummel seems opportune. You have other elements as well, less defined, Lighter Park, for example. Rob and I were a bit busy over the last few months. However, moving into the summer, you may have an opportunity again to engage the public on Lighter and possible developments there. So I can only suggest in parting that you take advantage of that and make use of the lists developed in the last election. You continue outreach and development on possible improvements. There is a matter of the art studio as well.
Right, I had a conversation with Mike Miro this week about that, and, we're looking at different options as far as possibly renovating the space now, or possibly, tearing that down and doing something new. But we both thought it'd be a good idea to get a committee going and have someone from the foundation, Mike, Patrick and I, and maybe some community members that might be interested as well, just to kind of get a sense of what people want, or, the fundraising for it is the issue. So, it's a question of how far we want to go with that.
Would it make sense to have Natalie on the committee too?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you mind?
No, since we perform here every summer, my theater company, I know Mark, our artistic director, would love to be on a committee, and also I would love to do that too, so.
Okay. Well, maybe we can map out some times when we can meet.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
Very good.
Question on agenda, where can we put Rita McCourt's letter on this? Would that be under new business or during reports?
We can put that under new business.
Okay.
Speaking of old business, there is a question of code of conduct. This dates back several months, and the original intent was to ensure we were all operating on the same page regarding ideal conduct among board members. Some of these points are addressed in your best practices manual. You had asked in March that we have an opportunity to review it. You received a copy of it. On review, does anyone find anything in the code of conduct that would restrain your actions, your positive actions, I should say, as board members?
Oh, I never really did. My issue from the beginning and even today is, it's one thing to sign a code of conduct, it's another to act according to the code of conduct. And I think that we have a lot of work to do as a group to kind of follow that code of conduct. I have no problem trying to follow that conduct, and I'd be happy to sign it. But I would like to take chances as our actions rub up against it, and we might feel that there is a violation of that code of conduct. I'd like us as a board to be able to talk about that and learn from that behavior.
Everyone on the board at this point has the opportunity to call that question. So you'll sign it?
Yeah.
Excellent. I don't know if we have a spare copy lying around, but I'll leave that to you. We also have a question of videotaping. Looks like we may have some taping already. It's called taping because they used to put it on this stuff called tape. It's actual tape. And there were reams of it, and there was nothing you could do with it, especially if it broke, then you were stuck with all this old tape. It's such a hassle.
Do you want me to tell you what we found out?
That'd be great, please.
In terms of if doing taping for social media for Facebook Live, Dan and I were talking about that. That's just a matter of someone doing it on a device like a phone, where it's going to immediately stream live onto the social media. I can always do that with my phone. We talked about getting like a little stand that I could just stick my phone in, putting it on a shelf, and then we don't have to worry about it for the whole meeting. So if that's what everybody decides they want to do, is move forward with streaming these live on Facebook, not a problem. We can do that anytime. In terms of recording them on a device so that we then have like a tape, as you say, or something digital that I could upload to our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at some camcorder options on like Best Buy's website. Brian and I did that. So I think probably for like $300 we could get like a nice camcorder that would last us for a while. Might be really nice to have that also for like camps and special events and other things that we could record to add to the website or to our social media pages. So either option, totally feasible. If we need to purchase something, that's just a matter of
It's a matter of actually making the purchase.
So I guess my question is the longevity of it. Like Facebook Live, does that stay out there like forever?
I believe so.
Uh-huh.
I don't think there's an expiration on that. So I created a YouTube channel for us, because that's what we had.
That's our current policy.
What's that?
It's our current policy.
Right. So after every meeting, I create a video, it's just a picture, out of the sound recordings of these meetings, and then I upload it to our YouTube channel, so people can hear it if they want to, and there's a link to that on our website. So if we decided to record it, it would be the exact same thing, except instead of me having to create a movie of nothing, it would be an actual film of the meeting, and then I could just upload that instead. So that's fine, we just need the device to do it. If that's what everyone wants.
We have two pieces of old business, and we've discussed them, the IAPD Code of Conduct. Mr. Coyne has agreed to sign it. Have we a copy available?
I don't have it.
Oh, I think I got a copy somewhere.
That would be great. And then we can remove that from business. There's also the business of videotaping of public board meetings, which we've discussed. How would you like to handle that? Shall we postpone it for next month and then perhaps close, or
I think that makes sense.
does that make sense? Or perhaps transform it once you have an actual policy written regarding upload to Facebook. Because you'll want to revise the previous policy. Okay.
I think I gave you 2 pages, or might just be 1 page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different.
Pass that along. Very good. So we'll postpone then further discussion of videotaping until next month.
Okay.
And may I have a motion to close on the code of conduct business?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Next is new business, approval transfer of funds from Chase Bank to US, which I believe we've done. Any new business? Other new business?
I'd just like to say thank you to you, Michael, for being our president and, leading us for the past 2 years. Yeah, anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Second, I agree.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate it.
It's been an honor. Rita, we have some new business.
Yes, I don't know if everybody got a copy of my notes in their packet, but, I'm suggesting that the board might need to find somebody else to take notes. I think it's really important that the note taker has the support of all board members. And as you may recall, last month, there was a vote, and Commissioners Meade and Coyne voted against me retaining the position. So I would just like to say I'm willing to continue taking notes until somebody who is hired and approved by the board. And the new board would have the opportunity to hire a new and approved note taker. So that's my feeling.
I would like to clarify what I was trying to convey last month. My vote was not against you at all, Rita. I think you've done a great job of taking notes, and you're a trusted person, and you've done this for years. My vote was against hiring people that are family members, a board or the director. So it was a nepotism issue. It wasn't against you per se, but it was a policy, philosophy difference that I have. But it was not.
No, I understand that, but I was one of the people on the list, and you voted no, so I assume that the no included me with the other people that were on the list.
Right. Which isn't a vote against you. It's really that you're married to one of the board members. That's the reason.
Right.
And I'd like to say as well, I've been on the board for 3 years. And, you know, the nepotism is a strong word, but at the same time, I have to look at, we're not just, I don't think of us as a mom and pop shop. I don't think of us as something that's small and that's just okay. I think of Ridgeville as what it could be. It could be something better than what we are now. I think we're on the right track. But as Evanston, we do a lot of patting ourselves on the back and saying everything's great. And I'm going a long way to say that if my wife were in that same role, someone else might feel different about that. If Ann's wife was there, or if Ann Cabot's husband was here, it's just the way that it works. So I'm just being honest there. I do not have anything against you, Reed. I think you've done a fantastic job. But that's why I voted that way. So at least I can say that.
So, I mean, is the consensus then to go ahead and put it out for applicants?
Who's gonna do that? Who, is that, Brian, is that something you're gonna take care of?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe for the public's record, historically, I think we paid $200 a month to the person taking notes. So it's-
No.
100.
It's $100 a month, and by the time they take out taxes, it's like $80 a month.
So you've been earning about $1,200 a year for doing this?
Right.
Okay. Thanks, that's good clarification. $100.
Yes.
I'd like to point out too, it's nice that you both said that she's done an excellent job. I think she has done an excellent job also. She has never missed a meeting in about 12 years, just to give you a heads up on that. She also used to get us a holiday bonus, and she felt it important that she not get a holiday bonus, so she's not gotten a holiday bonus. And I think those are just two little minor points. I think the bigger issue, from my perspective, well, I'm married to her, I love her, but she has done an excellent job. She came to fill in, and she ended up staying for almost 12 years. And I just think, from my perspective, she gives Ridgeville, and I think the mom and pop approach is okay, myself. I think having that feel for Ridgeville is okay. We're a neighborhood, we're, residents, we're friends. So having that feel for our park district, to me, is okay. And I think Rita's, again, done an excellent job, and obviously I'm somewhat biased, but just wanted to make those 2 points.
On the other side of the coin of that question on nepotism is this. We've disagreed on the number of people in our community, but let's say you choose your number of 20,000, okay? That's a lot of community members that are paying taxes towards this district. And most of them aren't married to us. They're not our relatives. I think for a tax body, it's important for us to spend our money in a very transparent way. And a big part of that is how we hire and pay for staff that run our district. And so for me, I bristle at the idea that we're a mom and pop shop. What that tells me is if you're in our family, you're part of that group. If you're not part of our family, you're not. And we're a public entity, and I want everyone in our district to feel welcome and be able to compete for any job in this district fairly. That's the reason I am against us hiring family members. That's all.
Yeah, I'll continue to disagree with your definition of nepotism and the fact that you think this is nepotism, but, it is what it is. I think we just move ahead and, find somebody with,
Having spent some quality time visiting with neighbors, I can tell you the nepotism question is not so. It is delicious to have a small public entity that can reflect our community. However, with our current nepotism policy, we do stand at risk of rapidly losing that trust should we ever abuse it. I don't believe we have either. That being said, we have a high-risk profile, and in the long term, should you choose to reduce it, I think you would find a number of taxpayers who wouldn't mind. I'd love to have the last word on this, but I don't. That's for you. So, citizen comments. Yes, Debbie.
I'd like to say that I think I probably can say this with a lot of confidence, Mr. Coyne, that I have really spoken to a lot of the residents, and I think that if you look at the vote number, you'll see that a lot of them support me, and a lot of the residents do want this to be a mom and pop operation, and they do like the feelings, and the nepotism issue, you're right, Michael, is not an issue at all.
Oh, no, I said
Well, I
it
know
could
what you're
be.
saying, but they do like the feeling of it. And what you're saying is not right. The people do not feel that way. And you really need to look at what the people of this community want. And I think they've really spoken about it in their votes.
Sir?
Hi, Jeff Burry, 1126 South Boulevard. And I was going to bring this up last month when the nepotism question came up, but I wanted to check my facts a little bit. And I worked for McDonald's Corporation for 20 years, and admittedly a far larger organization in the Woodville Park District. But they have a nepotism policy. And the nepotism policy is that you can hire relatives and, either by marriage or birth, whatever. However, they cannot work for or with each other. All right, they cannot work in the line of command. They cannot be in a position where they can affect buying decisions with a subcontractor who they might be hiring. My brother-in-law has a print shop. Let's use him. They can't do any of that. And those people, they need to recuse themselves from those kinds of buying decisions. And if there must be competitive bids for those kinds of things. And so that's their policy. And I know from long years of experience that there are no exceptions to it. You either have a policy or you don't have a policy. When you begin to make exceptions to that policy, the policy no longer exists. And so I think the issue can, if you focus on the hiring, as you started to talk about here, and the hiring policy, do you put those positions open for public hiring, that you post them, you gather you gather applicants, and then you choose the best, applicant from them, then I think that passes whatever test you might hold this up to. Whether you see this as a mom and pop shop, or you see it as a more professional entity, and as you said, something that has to reflect taxpayer investment as well as community and neighborhood investment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Am I allowed to speak? Sure. For what it's worth, just so that you guys know, I post the jobs, which include camp directors, on multiple job sites. I also email, Mike Miro has created this list of churches in the neighborhood and other organizations, and I send out a mass email to them too, telling them what positions we're looking for, which include camp directors. I'm just thinking about camps because a lot of those people on the list that we discussed last month are directly involved with camps. And I had tons of camp counselors apply, most of which, probably 80 or 90% of which, had been CITs here or had been campers here. And so, but I didn't have a single camp director apply. So there was no adult over the age of 20 that applied. So I just think that's an interesting fact. And also something that I learned while interviewing these kids is that they, as campers and the CITs and then coming back and wanting to work here, and the return rate of the counselors we have, it tells me, someone who's never been a part of our summer here, that something is not broken. The kids love it, the people love it. A lot of the people, the counselors like Lois and Dee and Jamie, who was our camp director last year, have obviously been doing a really good job. So I don't know if that means anything, but I just want to throw that out there because I know some of those names were on the list that we discussed in terms of nepotism, but people really love them.
And that's interesting that no one would apply.
No one. Which is fine, I mean,
Right.
I reached out to some people I knew, and there was one camp director position open for one of our mini camps, so I was able to fill that. But it was somebody that, like, it was from reaching out to like my own, in terms of like people in Evanston, there, like I said, there were no that applied for any position.
Are the salaries competitive with the city and other park districts?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
Very close, if not, honestly, if not more. I would have to, I guess I would have to call and ask them specifically, but, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good to know.
Do we have a movement to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Mike.